guys, it's Simonne and 94XO you are tuned into, and I'm super thrilled and excited to have Rebekah Coste, the owner and founder of St. Louis Mom, here with me. I'm grateful to have you here. It's just cool to experience something with motherhood with you and being able to discuss those things with you. So how are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and chat.
Yeah. So tell me more about St. Louis Mom. Like, how did you find it? Like, things that you guys have going on. Like, just let me know.
Yeah. Well, the backstory is I became a mom overseas. My first baby was born overseas and didn't have access to many resources that first year. Kind of cobbled everything together myself, and we came back to St. Louis when my daughter was 1, and I was trying to determine if I was going to go to work, if I was going to stay home full time, if I was going to do something in the middle, and I learned about the City Mom Collective, which is our parent network, former parent network of St. Louis Mom, and that they essentially were kind of equipping mompreneurs to open up sites like this across the country. And there was not one in St. Louis.
Wow.
And I just kind of felt that stirring in my gut that like maybe this could be something. So I started the site with my co-owner at the time in June of 2018. So we're coming up on 6 years.
Wow, congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we just have a heart to encourage moms on their motherhood journey, to connect them with the best resources that we can find. To just keep them in the know of things that are going on in St. Louis for families, and just essentially take out the part of like that extra step in motherhood of thinking through like, okay, what next? You know, like if you are home with like a crabby toddler and you have an hour to kill, where's a great fenced-in playground? Or, hey, we want to go out to dinner as a family tonight, but don't have a ton of money to spend on a meal, so what about a dining deal, you know? And so we connect with families on social media, through our website, through emails, and then also through events that we host for moms and families in the community.
I think what you're doing is like really cool and it's amazing because I came across it when I was pregnant. So this past year I was at home and I'm just so used to like being on the go and just go. And so I was laying at home and I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I'm just researching things to do for moms and stuff. And I was like, okay, what can I prepare when Sydney's born? And having 2 kids that are different in age, I'm like, I don't know where to take the kids at. So just being able to research you guys and see all the cool things that you are doing and have done for people, like it's cool because it doesn't have to be a quote unquote specific type of mom, like because there's single moms out here, you know, families and things, and it's a range of things that you guys are creating, have resources for people. So yeah, I mean, it's great to have that and for other people to know about it, because like me, I didn't know anything about it till I came across it. So.
Yeah, I think there are resources out there for child raising, you know, but I personally feel a deep passion for moms, for the mother role, and just, you know, our content is geared towards a lot of kid-friendly things, you know, but then we really try to emphasize content that's intended for mom and for her overall well-being, mental health, her physical well-being, just things that are going to be fun for her if she can get out of the house, you know, and just focusing on the whole person as a mom.
And that's something that we have to like make that aware of, because it's like one thing with going back into pregnancy, people talk about postpartum depression and they say like, oh, we understand this, but a lot of people don't understand and don't realize how that can affect people even after, you know, even years, not even just within the 6 months or so.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, it is something like motherhood is challenging and it's different for everyone. And so being able to take that time and give people that space of like, you are more than a mom. You know, we want to make sure you realize that it's okay to take time to yourself, and having a tribe, as you say, and having people that support you and around you to be able to be yourself.
Absolutely.
So how was Flourish?
Flourish.
I just had that event, and it
Yes.
kind of ties into that for moms. How was that event?
Yes, it was wonderful. So Flourish is our spring event. We host it annually, typically in the month of April. So it's all focused on blooms and flourishing and life.
Yeah.
And it's just a beautiful afternoon. We were at the Noble, which is just a gorgeous venue, and had some really yummy treats and drinks and so many wonderful local businesses where moms could shop. We had pampering, photo shoot. It was, and there were moms of all stages. You know, we had some grandmothers there. We had moms who were expecting there, you know, and that's one of the things that I love the most about our events is like really seeing a tangible representation of our community in person.
Yeah.
And that is just, that always just gives me so much life. So it was so much fun, and we do it every spring.
Okay.
So,
Now, how do you balance? You're a stay-at-home mom, and has there been a point where you were working with your oldest, or have you always been a stay-at-home mom just the whole time as you being a mom?
Yes, I have always been somewhat of a stay-at-home mom, hybrid work from home mom.
Okay.
So the first year of my daughter's life, I did not work at all in any capacity, and then started my work with St. Louis Mom when I was expecting my second baby. And so in many ways, I feel like St. Louis Mom is one of my babies because it's kind of grown up along with my children, which has been really neat to see.
Yeah.
But I have never been in a full-time working outside of the home capacity as I've been a mom.
Okay.
And I think there are so many challenges on both sides, right? I know that just in talking with friends who work full-time outside of the home, and you know, people who follow us, and we've gotten their feedback on certain things, and you know, that is just a whole other realm for me, you know, of just having like, you're giving all of yourself to your job during the day, and then you come home. I just heard somebody say this yesterday about like, I have a 9 to 5, and then I come home and I start my 5 to 9.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, wow, that is so true. And so I think that there is just a whole kind of slew of resources needed for moms who are working exclusively outside of the home. But I think for me, balance is a tricky word.
Yes.
And it's always been, it's looked different in different seasons of motherhood for me. I think that because motherhood is so closely tied to our personhood, and so it's hard to separate yourself from that.
Right.
So when you have a job that's so closely tied into like this crucial part of who you are, it can be really hard to find balance, you know, because it can all kind of mesh together.
Yeah.
So I've tried to be really strict in terms of like, when I'm mom, I'm mom. When I work. Tried to be really strict about like the times that I set aside to work. And I think also like living in this digital realm of like, oh, I could just send off a quick email.
Yeah.
You know, like at the park with my kids, I could totally just send off this email, right? And sometimes you do that, you know, but I try to do the bulk of my work like in a dedicated work time, whether that's like a couple hours that I take outside of the home, whether that's when my kids have nap time, or at night. Sometimes I do a lot of work at night too.
Yeah. When they're sleepy.
But balance is, it's hard. It's hard. And I think that it's often something that we just have to put in place for ourselves.
And it's one thing that I've had to remember and see like the perspective of other people, because I have friends that are stay-at-home moms, and it's like they have so much going on, and they are very invested in their children's lives, and they really like make their meal, like they meal prep, and they do everything that I would love to do, right? Yeah. And I said I was going to do it. I'm watching TikTok videos, and I'm like, I'm going to puree Sydney's food. And it just didn't happen, where I've always been on the other side. Like I've been a young mom since I was 15. And so I've always been work. Yeah. And so now I'm approaching my 30s, and I've been trying to change it and like put boundaries, not only on other people, but boundaries with myself. Like, okay, you have to make time for your kids. Like, this is your priority. do what you need to do, because work is work. Like work,
yes,
the 9 to 5. After 5, just take time to yourself. Be okay. If you have to put your phone on do not disturb, like it's okay to do that. So I mean, I applaud moms on both ends, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's hard. Everyone has a different life at home, you know, and so kids are all different. Some days they're the happiest child in the world, and other days they can be sick, and I mean, you just can never predict it. So
it's like it's the job that'll keep you the most on your toes. It's never, no 2 days are ever alike in motherhood, like that is
all
for sure.
So how has it been though when it comes to building your tribe and having the people around you when it comes to support being a mom?
I love this question because I think it's so important, and I think it looks different for every mom. I think that you know, I'm from St. Louis, and so, but my experience in living here as like a single person, and then leaving, and then coming back, and now being a wife and a mother, I had to completely kind of start over, you know, because my life was so different. But I think it's so important to have a support system around you. We have a lot of transplant moms involved in St. Louis Mom, you know, who don't have family here. And so they've really had to work hard to put their tribe together. And I think, you know, it doesn't have to be a big group of people, you know, even if it's just having like one good mom friend, you know that you can call up and ask. You know, there are so many wonderful, you know, there are play groups. I mean, I just tell moms, like, strike up a conversation with somebody at the library, you know, at the baby story time. I mean, that's how I met a great mom friend when I was living overseas. Or maybe get involved in a gym, and you'll meet some friends, you know, when you're working out together. And I also think that it's really important to build your tribe based on shared values, because I know that, like, those heart values, those are what are going to energize you and breathe life back into you, so that when you then go back into motherhood, right, you're like, oh yes, like I feel like I can do it, you know? And so I think that's really important as you build your tribe, is not to just surround yourself with people, but like surround yourself with people who share heart values, you know, and really can encourage you.
For sure. Now, tying into that though, like we talked about the tribe, but like loneliness in motherhood. So pregnancy, postpartum, and then after that, finding yourself again. Like, how have you experienced that, or people around you? How has that made them feel, like, you know, to go through that? Because I think we've all went through that before, whether we talked about it, whether it's a million people in the room, right? But we feel alone. But it's just, you know, something. So, I
mean, I feel like, and I'm probably going off the cuff here, but as a nation in general, I think we're facing this big epidemic of loneliness. You know, we are more connected than we've ever been. We're more connected to information and to each other and lots of voices. And yet I think, like, I was reading a study about this recently, and I don't want to quote the stats because I don't want to get it wrong, but just that there's so many people who feel lonely. And they're missing that heart connection, you know? And I think it's so ironic that the most lonely I've ever felt in my life has been in motherhood and in marriage, to be quite honest. And you're never alone. That's so ironic to me, you know? But it's those moments when you're giving and giving and giving of yourself, and you're not being poured into in return. And I think that's where loneliness can sprout, you know? And not really gaining visibility into, like, somebody else is dealing with the same thing that I am, you know? And so I think that's where, like, and that's why I feel so strongly about events, because I think, like, in some ways I love social media, but I also think that social media for me has many times made me feel alone.
Yeah, because you're always having to constantly be on there, and you're looking for stuff, and you're like, I understand. I worked in social media, and it was like at first it was like, oh, this is great. Like I can connect with all these people and, you know, network and, you know, do all these things. But after a while, it was like, I felt like I was draining myself.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, do I really know these people or does it just look good? So
yes, absolutely.
The events, I totally agree with you on because it's different. The pandemic kind of changed everyone and no one wants to have a conversation in person anymore. So when people come to the events, it's like, what do I do? How do I say hi? And
I know.
It's like reverting back to like being a child again.
Yeah. I know. My team, they tease me because I love a phone conversation. Like 9 times out of 10, unless I have a screaming kid in the background, which I always do. Like I love to pick up my phone and like call somebody and like hear their voice and be like, hey, what's going on? Let's talk this through. And they're like, no, don't text me. I don't want you to call me. I have a friend who's like, every time you call me, I think something's wrong. Like something serious is about to happen. You know, I'm like, no, I'm just calling you to chat with you.
Just to say hi. Yeah. One of my closest friends says it. Like sometimes it's just nice to just say hi. It doesn't always have to be a reason. It's just check on people because you just, I mean, you never know what people are going through. So, and we have to remember that as people because we have our own things going on and sometimes we tend to forget.
Yes.
I love to hear that.
And one thing I want to add about loneliness too, I think for me, a cure for loneliness that I've found is those moments where I feel like kind of sunken on myself and I'm feeling lonely and unseen. I'll look outside of myself and say, okay, is there somebody that's going through something? Maybe I can help them. Yeah. You know, maybe I can take them a meal or drop off a coffee or just send a text and check in. And so I find that in those moments that then that kind of fuels, you know, with some new purpose. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
No.
Now, what have you been most excited about when it comes to St. Louis Mom and meeting new people? Like what has been, I guess, the most exciting things that you've done so far, you think?
Oh, gosh.
Very broad, but.
That is broad. Honestly, like just when we hear from a mom that we've made her life easier. I mean, that for me, like, is the greatest milestone, highlight, you know, just when she says, like, I would have been lost without these resources that you provided, or just hearing from the moms themselves is what is for me, like, we're making a difference, you know?
Yeah.
We really are like connecting moms. And so I love to hear that.
Yeah.
And I think growing our social media presence, growing our web presence, growing our event presence, and just becoming a really trusted, reliable resource for moms in the region, that they know if they see something on St. Louis Mom that like, we're going to tell them the truth about it, you know? And there are a lot of things that we're asked to post or we go and experience and we're like, didn't love it, you know, so I'm not going to share it. Or, you know, and so, yeah, I think just becoming a trusted, reliable resource for me.
Yeah, and I think you and your tribe, I think you guys have done an amazing job, and you're just growing and growing and growing. Because authentic is genuine, and there are a lot of moms out here that need that, and just to be exposed to that, because a lot of us sit in the house, like you know, we sit, and we're stuck on. I'm saying social media a lot because it's just become a norm, and we just scroll and we just Netflix and chill by ourselves. And I knew someone that they didn't like to leave the house. They had a newborn and they'd sit in the dark, and it's just like, why are you sitting in the dark? But she didn't know how to express that she was going through postpartum. She didn't understand it and didn't research it, where even when I was young, I didn't understand it at 15. So my experiences with pregnancy was completely different. And it was like, wow, like this is how it was. Like my parents helped me so much and I didn't understand. And where now I'm like, it's different. We're the same, but it's different. And I appreciate motherhood 10 times more because I can experience it. So
and we're really trying to bust that stigma too of, you know, the shame that can be attached to depression and anxiety, and knowing that so many of us deal with it, and especially in the postpartum years, which I mean, for me, once you're postpartum, you're always postpartum until the end of time. but just really bringing that to light too.
Yeah.
And so that moms know that they don't have to suffer alone, you know, that there are just countless moms who are going through it too.
Yeah. Well, I have a Causerie jar here.
Okay.
It's my jar.
Okay.
And you're going to just pull 3 questions
This
out
one?
of it. Yes.
Okay. Pull
and they're random. They're kind of not random, but they're for you. So.
Okay. So just grab one.
And you just.
Okay. How do you take care and pour into yourself? Not as a mom, but as a person. I am an introvert, so doing things by myself is a way I pour into myself, whether that's going to a coffee shop or going for a walk. I have a group, a faith-based group that I meet with once a week.
Okay.
And that's been a major lifeline for me. And a good meal, like going out for a good meal with a good glass of wine, like just a leisurely night out with my spouse, for me is like brings life back to me. So those are.
I'm glad you can answer that, because I sat and I'm like, what do I like to do by myself?
What about
you have to sit and like be with my kids.
Yeah.
Even when you have a break, I miss my kids. And I was doing this the other day. I'm like, man, I was at work. I said, I miss my kids, texting one of my friends. I'm like, I want to see them. So it's good that you know that. Like, self-care is important, self-love, all of that. So, all right, next question.
Okay. What is your go-to meal to cook by for the family, and why? Oh, well, I will say, I mean, my kids love mac and cheese. So
every kid, yes.
Just like, I mean, on a night that I just don't want to battle that this is yucky and waste food, I open a box of mac and cheese and it's not great. And then also we love a burger.
Yeah.
So we'll do like burgers on the grill, and everybody loves that. So like build your own burger.
How is that though, adding this on, like when you go out to eat with your family, how is that experience? Like, I always laugh and joke about it because we see it and it looks so cool. Like people post their cute pictures and stuff, but in reality, it's like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. Like the high chair and making sure everybody eats. Like, how is that for you?
Yeah. Well, my husband is French, and so food is a really big part of the culture, and dining is a really sacred experience. And so that's been a big point of effort, I would say, in our family, of like, you sit at the table, you eat your meal, you don't get up until you're done. But, you know, we've also gone to restaurants and had just got up and left, you know, because it was just like, well, this is not working. So we're going to go home and we're going to try it in a couple of years, you know. And now it's getting, I would say, a little bit better.
It's
sure. Much easier.
Thank you for the transparency, because it's not always sweet. It looks good on the cute pictures and things, but sometimes it can be overwhelming.
Oh, yeah. No, I've left with like a whole cup of coffee down my shirt, a vase. One time my son pulled a vase of flowers on top of me. I was covered. So, yeah, we've seen it all.
Okay, last question.
Okay, number 3. What is one of the best experiences you remember since becoming a mother? This is a tricky one. Honestly, I feel like right now my oldest is 7.5. She's finishing up her first grade year, and she's just developing her own value system. And it's neat to see that. It's neat to see her become a person, and it's neat to just see like things that I've really worked hard to like teach my children, and just like hope and pray that they're listening and that they're absorbing it. And so just to see some of those values that I've wanted her to learn and make her own, like her start to express that, is really, really cool. And it feels like a new level, of parenting.
Yeah, it's a different experience to see like, okay,
yes,
like you are learning and you do listen to me, and
yes,
it's appreciative. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a good feeling.
That and just some of the trips that we've taken together as a family and enjoying memories like that. Those are great memories. So
say motherhood, it's nothing like it. It's good, bad, ups and downs. But I personally would trade it for the world.
Yeah.
It's just I always wonder like, what is my purpose in life? And you search for things, and then here I am. I'm like, being a mom is cool. Like,
yes.
being a mom is what you make it, and I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't trade it for anything. So
yes, it's a gift.
Yeah.
It's an exhausting, wonderful gift.
Well, I appreciate you coming and sitting with me and talking to me about St. Louis Mom. Excited for all the things you guys have in store. Like, I know you guys are about to just take off with all the things. How can people connect with you? How can they find more information out about with St. Louis Mom?
Sure.
And then anything else you want to share?
Yeah, so you can find us on Instagram. We're STLewis_mom. I think that's the handle. You can find us there. You can find us on Facebook. That's just, if you just search ST Lewis Mom, you'll find us on Facebook. Our website is www.stlouismom.com. So we'll find everything there. And then you can also subscribe to our email newsletter. So we send that out once a week. And that's a great kind of recap of what we've posted during the week. If you missed something on social media or the website, or you took a social media break, you can find it in your email.
Yeah.
So, and we post all of our event updates on social media and on the web too.
All the weekend activities
activities.
I love that. That's so neat to me.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. That makes me so happy.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
And I'm Simonne, and you guys have been tuned in to 94XO. Make sure you guys follow us on social media, and we're out. Thank you.